G'day Internet. Today we're going to be building the MiniSynth 32. So the MiniSynth 32 is an MT32 Pi enclosure. So we're going to get all these parts, build a little hat for a Raspberry Pi to simulate the Roland MT32 MIDI synthesizer. So we're going to go the 2-button variant with the MIDI jacks so I can hook it up to the old Atari ST. Alright, so first things first, let's get 3D printing. So there we go, there's all the parts all gone way off the grid. Let's get them back. Alright, there we go. So we should be able to print that out. And hopefully we can print all that and then assemble it all pretty easily. Okay, so let's get into slicing. So I use Cura. I hear Prusa slices better, but I haven't bothered to learn any of that yet. There you go, it should take about 18.5 hours to print. So a few supports here and there, nothing too dramatic. Alright, let's save it to the disk and I'll start it printing. Okay, so while it's printing, let's start putting together all the bits and pieces. So now this is just a little LCD screen that goes at the front, just needs a few pin headers put in. I just solder it in. Probably should use a bit more flux, but the solder I use does have flux in it, so it should be okay. Alright, one pin pinned. Now I'll just take it, straighten it up, burn my fingers a little bit. Yep, there we go. Now just solder the rest of it up. Alright, quick little inspection. And let's move on to the front panel. So yep, put the 3D printed part in, fit that so it holds it all straight and level. Alright, let's put some pin headers in the board first before we have the LCD panel getting in our way. So just snip off the excess, have them fly off to never be seen again. Get a little bit of blue tack to hold it in place. Alright, now we'll just solder them all in. Alright, now we've got those pin headers in, let's fit the LCD panel. I'll just blue tack that. It's all held in place somewhat. This time, I'm going to use some flux. Same again, solder all the pins. Quick inspection, all looks pretty reasonable. Now let's put the two switches in that actually control the MT32 Pi. Okay, well that's the front panel done. Now we need to do the little analog to digital board. So we need to set up the little jumpers here to be compatible with the MT32 Pi project. Instructions for all this is all on the website that we were looking at earlier. So yeah, a bit of flux, bit of heat, bit of solder just to bridge those two pads. And we'll repeat the process on the other 3. Give it a little clean, then we'll move on to putting some pin headers in there. The same process as before, bit of blue tack, bit of flux, and some solder. There we go, clean it all up again. That looking good. But now we need to peel off the green spacer, I suppose is what you'd call it, because we want this to sit flush to the board, at least as flush as we sort of want it. I think they recommend about a folded over piece of paper thickness. Cool, now we've got that all. Let's start working on the main board. There you go, I've got that all blue tacked in place, sticking through the main board, and same process, flux, solder. Now we'll come along and trim off the excess pins. Alright, now it's time to solder all the other components on this main board. So I just use a little 3D printed former tool to get my resistors and the like looking nice and neat. Fit them through the board, bit of blue tack, solder them in. Alright, now we've got the diode. There's a line, a black line on the diode, and a line on the board marking which way is what, because this has a polarity. Okay, now we'll put our 40 pin GPIO header in that connects to the Raspberry Pi. Quite a lot of soldering on this one. Okay, that's that. All looks pretty neat. Now we just need to have the 90-degree headers soldered in. Alright, now everything's soldered. Let's clean off that flux. now that that's all done, we've got our 3D printed parts, and honestly, they look a bit iffy, but good enough. Let's put it all together. First things first, peel off that lovely plastic. There we go, all done. Let's give it a test. So here it is on top of the old Atari ST. There we go, it's booting up. That looks like it's worked. Give it an actual real test, see if it actually makes some noise. So I left this project for a bit, and now I've come back to it. So now I've got a little, another thing I've 3D printed, which is a little, takes two inputs, 3.5mm headphone jack, and outputs one has. And I've reprinted and painted the case so it looks a little bit nicer. And you probably can't see it, but I 3D printed a power button to make it a little bit easier to turn on and off. All right, so that's plugged, the stereo's plugged into that sound output from the Atari ST, and the other channel is plugged into the MiniSynth 32. Then it outputs one combined audio signal. Makes it a bit easier for capture and just works a bit nicer. All right, well, let's get it all turned on and give it a shot. There it is, sounded pretty good. Alright, so I'll dial the MIDI down, and then this is what it sounds like without the MIDI. So this is generated by the Atari ST. And back to MIDI. Yeah, we're still here in MIDI. Let's go into town. And it is amazing how different it sounds. And this is the non-MIDI sound. And back to the good old MIDI. Just amazing how different it sounds. Well, that was a nice little test of the MiniSynth 32. There's way more that can be done with it in terms of actually producing music with an Atari ST. And I'd like to try my hand at some of the basics, which is why I brought this. But that'll be a future video. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the production of this video. I did all the initial recording in October of 2024, most of the editing in January 2025, and I'm only just recording this outro in April 2025. So let's just say it's been a busy few months. In the intervening time, I've reprinted the case, attacked it with some paint textures to make it look pretty. Here's a quick view of the back, because I don't think I really show that much. So that's the 3D printed power button. And there's all the other bits of that's the MIDI port. Stuck some feet on the bottom so it doesn't slide around the desk anymore. So that all came up really, really nice. But moving forward, I've got plenty of projects, just as I'm sure as it is for most people, time is my Achilles heel. But I'll get there eventually. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe. If there's someone who you think will like this video, please recommend it to them. Conversely, if there's someone you don't like who think will hate it, recommend it to them too. Well, that's it for the day. Catch you in the next one.